The story of Samson begins in a time of turmoil. The land of Israel was fraught with conflict, and the people were in a state of despair. The Philistines, a powerful and oppressive force, had subjugated the Israelites, imposing their will and crushing their spirits. The Israelites, God's chosen people, were under the oppressive rule of the Philistines. The Israelites, God's chosen people, were under the oppressive rule of the Philistines. The Philistines were relentless, their soldiers patrolling the streets, enforcing harsh laws and ensuring that the Israelites remained subjugated. The people lived in constant fear, their cries for help echoing through the valleys and hills of their homeland. Years of prayers for deliverance seemed to go unanswered. The Israelites gathered in their homes and places of worship, lifting their voices in desperate pleas to the heavens. They prayed for a savior, someone who could free them from the chains of their oppressors. Yet, as the years passed, hope began to wane, and despair took root in their hearts. Then, in the midst of their suffering, a glimmer of hope appeared. A divine intervention was on the horizon, a sign that their prayers had not been in vain. The heavens opened, and a ray of light pierced through the darkness, signaling the arrival of a celestial messenger. An angel of the Lord visited a woman named Manoah and her husband. This divine visitation was unlike anything they had ever experienced. The angel's presence was overwhelming, filling the air with a sense of awe and reverence. The couple who had longed for a child could hardly believe their eyes. This couple was barren, unable to have children. Their sorrow was profound, as they had yearned for a child to carry on their legacy and bring joy to their lives. The weight of their childlessness was a heavy burden, one that they had carried for many years. The angel delivered extraordinary news. With a voice that resonated with divine authority, the angel proclaimed that their prayers had been heard. The couple would bear a son, a child destined for greatness. This news was nothing short of miraculous, a testament to the power of faith and divine intervention. They would bear a son. The couple's hearts swelled with joy and gratitude. The promise of a child was a beacon of hope, a sign that their lives were about to change in ways they could never have imagined. The angel's words were a divine promise, one that filled them with a renewed sense of purpose and faith. This son would be no ordinary man. He would be a Nazarite from birth, set apart for God. His life would be dedicated to a higher purpose, one that would require great strength and unwavering faith. The angel's prophecy spoke of a child who would grow into a man of extraordinary power and significance. He would be a Nazarite from birth, set apart for God. This meant that he would take a sacred vow, one that would dictate his actions and guide his path. The Nazarite vow was a commitment to live a life of purity and devotion, abstaining from certain worldly pleasures and dedicating oneself entirely to the service of God. He would be blessed with incredible strength. This strength would be a divine gift, one that would enable him to perform feats beyond the capabilities of ordinary men. His physical prowess would be unmatched, a symbol of God's power and favor. He would begin to deliver Israel from the Philistines. His strength would be a weapon against the oppressors, a force that would challenge the might of the Philistine soldiers. Samson's destiny was to be a liberator, a hero who would lead his people to freedom. The woman, filled with a mixture of joy and trepidation, received the angel's words as a sacred promise. She understood the gravity of the prophecy, the immense responsibility that came with raising a child destined for such greatness. Her heart was a whirlwind of emotions, but above all, she felt a profound sense of duty and honor. Her son, Samson, would be a beacon of hope for his people. From the moment of his birth, it was clear that he was marked by God. His presence brought a renewed sense of hope and anticipation to the community, a sign that deliverance was near. He would be a symbol of God's power in a time of despair. Samson's life would be a testament to the divine intervention that had brought him into the world. His strength and courage would inspire his people, reminding them of the power and mercy of their God. Little did she know the full extent of the path laid out before him, a path paved with both triumph and tragedy. Samson's journey would be fraught with challenges, his strength tested in ways that would reveal both his human vulnerabilities and his divine purpose. His mother could only hope and pray that he would have the wisdom and fortitude to navigate the trials ahead. The angel's prophecy ignited a spark of hope in the hearts of the Israelites. The news of Samson's impending birth spread throughout the community, lifting the spirits of a people long burdened by oppression. They saw in him a future where they could live free from the tyranny of the Philistines. They eagerly awaited the birth of the child who would break the chains of their oppression. The anticipation was palpable as the community prepared for the arrival of their savior. Samson's birth was more than just the arrival of a child. It was the dawn of a new era for the Israelites. Samson, marked by God, was destined for greatness. From his earliest days, it was evident that he was no ordinary child. His strength and presence were a constant reminder of the divine prophecy that had foretold his birth. His story, however, would be one of complexity and contradiction, a testament to the duality of human nature, even when touched by the divine. Samson's life would be a blend of incredible feats and profound struggles, a journey that would test the limits of his strength and faith. His legacy would be one of both triumph and tragedy, a reflection of the human condition in its most extraordinary form. Samson grew, not just in stature, but in spirit. From a young age, he was set apart, destined for greatness. His life was marked by a divine purpose, a calling that would soon become evident to all who knew him. The Spirit of the Lord began to stir within him, awakening a power that lay dormant. This was no ordinary strength, it was a divine force, a gift from God that would set him apart from other men. His Nazirite vow prohibited him from cutting his hair, a visible sign of his dedication to God. This vow was more than a mere ritual, it was a lifelong commitment, a symbol of his unwavering faith and obedience. The uncut hair was a constant reminder of his covenant with the divine, a covenant that endowed him with extraordinary abilities. It was a visible testament to his unique relationship with God. This uncut hair was not the source of his strength, but a symbol of his covenant with the divine, a covenant from which his extraordinary abilities flowed. It was a sacred bond, one that could not be broken. From this covenant flowed his extraordinary abilities that would soon be put to the test. Samson's strength was not just physical, it was a manifestation of divine power, a gift that would enable him to perform feats beyond human capability. One day, as Samson journeyed to the land of the Philistines, he felt a sense of destiny guiding his steps. The path was rugged, the terrain unforgiving, but Samson was undeterred. He knew that his journey was part of a greater plan. As he walked, he encountered a fierce lion. The beast, with eyes blazing and teeth bared, charged towards Samson. It was a moment of imminent danger, a test of his divine strength. The lion's roar echoed through the valley, a terrifying sound that would have struck fear into the hearts of ordinary men. But Samson was no ordinary man. The Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, filling him with a power that was not his own. In that moment, the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. Samson, relying not on weapons of man, but on the divine power that surged through him, felt an overwhelming surge of strength. It was as if the very essence of God had entered his being. Samson, relying not on weapons of man, but on the divine power that surged through him, reached out with his bare hands. He felt the power coursing through his veins, a power that gave him the strength to confront the lion head-on. With a fearless heart and unwavering faith, he reached out with his bare hands. The lion, a symbol of raw power and ferocity, was no match for the divine strength that Samson possessed. He grabbed the lion's powerful jaws and with a surge of superhuman strength tore the beast apart. It was a display of power that defied human understanding, a testament to the divine force that resided within him. This encounter with the lion was more than a display of brute force. It was a moment of divine intervention, a clear sign that Samson was chosen by God for a special purpose. It was a testament to Samson's calling, a calling that would lead him to perform even greater feats in the future. This was just the beginning of his journey, a journey that would be marked by acts of incredible strength and unwavering faith. It was a sign to all who witnessed it that this was a man chosen by God, a man imbued with extraordinary abilities to fulfill a divine purpose. The people who saw this act knew that they were in the presence of someone truly special, a man imbued with extraordinary abilities to fulfill a divine purpose. Samson's mission was clear, and his strength was a tool given by God to achieve it. His life would be a testament to the power of faith and the strength that comes from divine favor. The legend of Samson, the lion slayer, began to spread. Stories of his incredible strength and divine favor traveled far and wide, reaching the ears of many who marveled at his feat. The Israelites whispered his name with a mix of awe and anticipation. They knew that Samson was no ordinary man, and they looked to him with hope and expectation. Their deliverer, it seemed, had finally come. Samson was not just a hero, he was a symbol of divine intervention, a beacon of hope for a people in need of deliverance. His journey was just beginning, and the world would soon witness the full extent of his God-given power. Samson, captivated by a Philistine woman, found himself drawn to her beauty and charm. Despite the cultural and religious differences that separated them, he decided to take her as his wife. This decision, driven by desire rather than wisdom, set in motion a chain of events that would test both his strength and his faith. The wedding was a grand affair, filled with the customs and traditions of the time. Friends and family gathered to celebrate the union, unaware of the storm that was brewing beneath the surface. Samson, confident and playful, posed a riddle to 30 Philistine men during the wedding feast. The riddle was a test of wit and intelligence, a challenge that Samson believed only he could solve. He wagered fine linen and changes of clothing, confident that the Philistines would fail to decipher his enigmatic question. If they could solve it within 7 days, he would reward them handsomely. If they failed, they would owe him the same. The riddle was based on his encounter with a lion, a secret he believed to be his own. Out of the eater, something to eat; out of the strong, something sweet. The Philistines were puzzled, their minds racing to find the answer. Days passed and their frustration grew. Desperate to avoid losing the wager, the Philistines turned to Samson's wife. They threatened her, demanding that she extract the answer from her husband. Torn between her loyalty to Samson and her fear for her people, she succumbed to their pressure. She wept and pleaded with Samson, using her tears and words to manipulate him. Unable to bear her distress, Samson revealed the secret to her. She in turn betrayed him by passing the answer to the Philistine men. The Philistines, armed with the knowledge they had deceitfully obtained, approached Samson with the answer, "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" Their victory was hollow, achieved through deceit and manipulation. Enraged by this treachery, Samson's heart burned with a fiery vengeance. He felt the sting of betrayal, not just from his enemies, but from the woman he loved. His trust had been violated and his pride wounded. In a fit of rage, Samson went down to the Philistine city of Ashkelon. His anger was a force of nature, unstoppable and destructive. He struck down 30 men, taking their garments and casting their bodies aside. The once festive wedding feast had transformed into a scene of carnage. The Philistines' deceitful victory celebration was short-lived. They had underestimated the wrath of a man betrayed. Samson's actions were a declaration of war, a taste of the destruction he was capable of unleashing upon them. This act of retribution marked a turning point in Samson's relationship with the Philistines. No longer was he the playful riddle maker, he had become a force of vengeance, a harbinger of destruction. The once confident and playful man was now a warrior, driven by a burning desire for justice. His actions sent a clear message to the Philistines. Their deceit would not go unpunished. The celebration of the wedding feast had turned into a scene of chaos and violence. The guests, who had come to witness a union, now found themselves amidst a battlefield. Samson's anger, fueled by betrayal and the violation of his trust, burned like an inferno. His actions were not just a response to the immediate betrayal, but a declaration of his strength and resolve. This moment marked a significant turning point. Samson's relationship with the Philistines would never be the same. The seeds of conflict had been sown, and the path ahead was fraught with battles and bloodshed. It was a declaration of war, a taste of the destruction he was capable of unleashing upon them. The fiery aftermath of the wedding riddle would echo through history, a testament to the power of betrayal and the wrath of a wronged man. The Philistines, enraged by Samson's brutal retaliation, sought revenge. They marched into Judah, demanding Samson's surrender. The Israelites, caught in the crossfire, feared the Philistines' wrath. They bound Samson and delivered him to their enemies. They believed they had appeased the Philistines, hoping to avoid further bloodshed. Little did they know they were about to witness another display of God's power through Samson. As the Philistines closed in, their shouts of triumph filling the air, the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon Samson once more. The ropes that bound him snapped like dry twigs. He found himself standing in a dry valley, unarmed and surrounded by his enemies, but God had provided. Nearby lay the jawbone of a donkey. Grasping this unlikely weapon, Samson charged into the heart of the Philistine throng. He fought with the fury of a cornered lion, each swing of the jawbone felling another enemy. 1,000 Philistines fell that day, their bodies strewn across the valley floor. The earth ran red with the blood of Samson's enemies.